Spooky skeletons and shivers down your spine.
I think you messed up the words. Welcome back to the Opening Kickoff, your new favorite show to watch every single week before the NFL week gets started. Make sure you are subscribed so you never miss an episode every Thursday at noon.
And it is currently Monday night. We just finished the Monday Night Football, but y'all are seeing this on Halloween, so happy Halloween, motherfuckers. Go trick or treat if you're a kid. Go get drunk if you're an adult. Hey, if you're a teenager / young adult, go find a baddie at a Halloween party. Do your business. You feel me? Do your homework.
Everybody make sure drink responsibly on Halloween. Let's get into our yays and nays of the week because I would like to start off. My yay, I might have got multiple for each. My yay, I hit 3 bets this Monday night. I hit a bet on both slates for the Sunday game. I hit a bet on the Sunday night game. And yeah, I think that's my only yay. But my nay, I got multiple. First off, you got the Vikings game on Thursday. We played like shit the whole game. We let the Rams convert 5 third downs via penalty.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Oh, my other yay.
That's unacceptable.
My kicker actually won me my fantasy game. That's my other yay.
Hey, shout out
But
Chris Roswell.
that is unacceptable. We were shooting ourselves in the foot the whole game. And then on top of that, the missed face mask call at the end of the game. I don't think the refs sold us the game or anything. I honestly don't even think we would have gotten the touchdown or the 2-point conversion to go to overtime. But I still think we deserved a chance to at least try because you never know what could happen. And then my other nay, I got to pull this out real quick because this shit is actually insane. So, like I said, I went 3 for 3 on my bets on Monday night. Or technically 3 for 4, but this was only a $2 bet. I'm going to go ahead and read you guys this shit because this is insane. So there's 8 legs on this bet I made. Malik Neighbors, higher than 49.5 receiving yards. Hit. TJ Watt, higher than half a sack. Hit. Najee Harris, higher than 15.5 rushing attempts. Hit. Russell Wilson, higher than 160 passing yards. Hit. Chris Boswell, higher than a field goal and a half. Hit. Tyron Tracy, over 6.6 fantasy points. Hit. Daniel Jones, over 0.5 fumbles lost. Hit. The only leg in this parlay that didn't hit was George Pickens' first quarter touchdown. He scored a touchdown in the first quarter, which got called back by a penalty. It was a $2 bet to pay $360. So whatever ref was in charge of the Giants-Steelers game, you owe me $300, buddy, because that was bullshit. I really thought I cooked, and now I'm depressed. But the other bets hit, so I'm a little less depressed.
Well, it was a penalty.
No, it was a penalty. But
the ref does
that's
not care.
still,
the ref does not care about your bet.
But that's still, you can't lie. That's depressing.
No, it is depressing. My yay of the week. Or let's go nay to finish off happy. My nay, Todd Bowles. Bro, the Buccaneers have a defensive-minded head coach, and somehow our defense looks like shit every week, and we have a defensive-minded head coach. I don't necessarily think everything's Todd Bowles' fault. I don't, So, man, the fake punt was really dumb. We're averaging 5.1 yards carry on for our running backs on offense. Run the ball right there. But, man, Todd Bowles, if you're an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator or head coach and your defense is the worst part of your team, you're the problem. Agree or disagree?
I definitely agree.
We're averaging 29 points a game on offense, and we're 4-4. That's ridiculous. We have the 3rd highest average points per offense, and we're 4-4. Ridiculous. Unacceptable.
Todd Bowles, and it's like even when y'all had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Baker was playing out of his mind, Baker was still having to play like way higher than his expectations because the defense can't stop anything. I told you going into the season the defense is ass, and they just continue to prove it week by week. Y'all can barely stop the run.
I think it's Todd Bowles' fault, though.
Y'all can barely stop the run. Y'all can't stop the pass to save your life.
No, anything within the hashes is wide open. It's unacceptable.
And whenever you can throw to the middle of the field or run the ball all over a team, like there's
no, you can't run the. We have.
You really can.
We have a great run defense. If you actually looked at this,
you can't run it up the middle. You run outside.
No, the only person the only running back who's actually messed us up was Derrick Henry. Every other running back we actually can, like
Bijan did fine against y'all.
Fine, but Saquon did fine. Like we actually can hold running backs pretty well. It's the passing that's the biggest problem. And then my yay, that Hail Mary was sick.
Oh my goodness, dude!
That Hail Mary was
awesome.
Sick. So what's funny is after the Bucks game, I drank a lot during the Bucks game because I was just so depressed.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Like anxiety. I'm drinking, And then that Bucks game happened. I started watching the 3:00 games, and I was just in a bad mood, so I went and took a nap, and I was drunk, so I took a drunk nap.
Took a real good nap.
And I wake up watching football because I fell asleep watching football on the TV, and I wake up and it's the PI on Keenan Allen. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, let's go! I'm gonna be up on Maddox. Let's go, because the Bills won as well. And then that Hail Mary happens. I wasn't even mad about the game picks. I was like, that was sick.
No, so I told you this, but obviously they haven't heard it. So I was bowling league Sunday night, and I threw a warm-up shot, and my phone was just sitting on the little thing between the two bowling lanes with the game on, because it was the only game at that time that was still close. Every game was pretty much over. It was just that game only. And I see it was like literally the end of Jaden Daniels where he was scrambling around. He held the ball for like 12 seconds, by the way, before he threw it. But I grabbed the phone, and I walk up to Zach. I'm like, dude, Zach, Jaden Daniels is about to throw a Hail Mary. I didn't expect anything to happen. I just wanted us to watch it. Dude, that shit was insane. Also, shout out Tyreek Stevenson. Maybe, actually watch the play, because he was also the guy who tipped the ball into Noah Brown's hands.
No, and
That
he's
shit is
over there,
insane.
like, doing this to the Commanders fans. Like,
He did say that he wasn't talking shit to the Commanders fans. He was getting hyped with Bears fans.
But still.
However, does that change
Stay
anything?
focused on the
Does that
play,
change anything? No, it doesn't.
No.
Because the thing is, you're really supposed to have people in front and behind the big group of people up front to knock it down if it's short, people behind to knock it down if it gets tipped, and there's nobody behind. Noah Brown was behind the big scrum of people literally all by himself.
Yep.
So shout out Tyreek Stevenson.
So let's get into the games last week. So Maddox is now up 5 after being up 4 last week. I went 7-8 this week. Maddox went 8-7. It was a very close week this week. I'm 62-53 total. Maddox is 67-48 total. The games I got wrong that you got wrong as well. Vikings Rams.
I already talked about that game.
Yeah, you talked about it. I want to talk about that penalty, which I told you about this. So we're talking to the people. Sam Darnold, obviously, blatant face mask call should be called every day of the week. He held the ball in the end zone for 3 to 4 seconds. Yeah. You can't do that because he almost got tripped up at first, right? You know exactly what I'm saying. I don't have to explain myself. You can't hold the ball that long in the end zone. That's really dumb. I think Sam Darnold's a really smart quarterback. That was probably the dumbest decision he made all season, where you put yourself in those type of situations. It sucks. I think the Vikings will be fine.
I'll never be one. Like, there are games that refs need to take blame for, but if it's a last-second call and you're going to blame one call in the whole game, especially when it's the very last call, that's just not how football works. If you have to blame it on one call, you could have played better the whole time.
Yep.
And we were shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties the whole time. We could have played a better game. Our defense throughout most of the game, we really could not stop the run. Kyron Williams was kind of got to do whatever he wanted. Blake Corum even looked pretty good against us. And, dude, Matt Stafford, when he has those weapons, that Rams offense is really scary.
That's not
I
something
think it's best case scenario that they got their weapons back now, because if it would have taken 2 more weeks, I think they would have lost to us. They probably would have lost next week as well.
If they lose to y'all, they go into rebuild mode.
I agree. I think they trade Cooper Kupp if they don't beat us.
Yep.
But they beat us. I think they hold on to him. And it was just a rough game. It was depressing, if I'm being completely honest. Actually, I was going to say something, but I want to get into it later, so you go ahead.
So next game I got wrong that you didn't was Packers, Jaguars. You know me, I'm going to pick the Jaguars, or they're not. They were so close.
But did me and Matt not say, you said you were going to stop picking the Jags, you picked them again, and they let you down once again. They let you down every time, and you still picked them.
They let me down every time. But, man, they always let me down with one possession.
It's always close. I'm going to be honest. I was kind of in a boat for a second where I was like, is it Trevor Lawrence? Is it the defense? Is it the coaching?
It's all around.
It's the coaching and the defense. I don't think it's Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence threw one really bad pick.
He did throw a bad pick, but the thing is,
I don't think quarterbacks are going to throw bad picks from time to time.
And I agree. And it's just he's been playing good offense. He's been putting up points. The defense can't stop the pass, can't stop the run, and you have a not very good head coach. I think get rid of Doug Peterson and build up that defense a little bit better. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a problem. The Jags have led the league in drops for multiple years, and a little bit comes from Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball so damn hard. But
the drop problem has been fixed this year.
Not really. I think they still lead the league in drops as of right now.
I doubt they lead.
No, they lead. They lead the league in dropped touchdowns as of right now.
Really?
They do.
Wow.
And I've seen a lot of videos breaking it down about how quarterbacks that throw the ball hard lead the league in drops, but you're not going to blame that on a quarterback. Like, if you need to throw it into a tight window, you're obviously going to throw the ball hard. By the way, Brian Thomas is him. Like, he's going to be a very good receiver for very many years in the NFL. I think that Jags defense needs to build up the secondary. And I don't think their pass rush is honestly terrible. I really like Josh Hines-Allen. Trayvon Walker has slowly been getting better.
Trayvon Walker is probably most improved player this year.
No, because he finished last year pretty good. His rookie year was a little rough, and then he's slowly getting better and better every year. I really think the secondary needs work, which during the draft, I really thought they were going to trade for T. Higgins or something like that. Maybe they do that at the deadline here. But I don't know. Clearly, Brian Thomas was a good pick.
There's no point in trading for a big guy. They just got
at this point, don't trade for a receiver.
Yeah.
Trade for somebody on defense. And I think Doug Peterson probably lose, or they won't trade for anybody at the deadline because they're 1-6, or they 1-5.
They have 2 wins.
So 2-5.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, don't trade for anyone at the deadline. Get rid of Doug Peterson.
They haven't had a bye yet, so they're 2-6.
Yeah. Get rid of Doug Peterson. Build the defense. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the problem.
Next game, is the game I'm most pissed about. Cardinals Dolphins. I pick the Cardinals every week.
You finally didn't pick them.
I swear I pick the Cardinals when they lose, and I don't pick the Cardinals when they win. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I really thought the Dolphins were going to win that game. They genuinely, and there's a lot of situations where it's like one team wins or one team loses. The Dolphins really did lose that game. Tyreek Hill said to start him in fantasy. He got 13 fantasy points. Tyreek Hill was pretty quiet throughout the game. Marvin Harrison was cooking. Marvin Harrison either goes ballistic or he's completely silent. Did you see
that one touchdown on Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah, he cooked Jalen Ramsey on a crosser and then completely beautifully dragged his toes on the sideline. Marvin Harrison is a dog. If he could stay more consistent, and honestly, if they get a new OC who's going to get him more involved more often, I think Marvin Harrison's going to have a great year.
Marvin Harrison's going to be a great receiver in the NFL.
He will be. Dude, honestly, all the rookies from this draft class, at least the first-round rookie receivers, they're all going to have great careers. This might be the best receiver draft class of I mean, that's what people said going into the draft as well. It really is a good receiver class.
Like, the worst one this year is Rome Odunze. Or no, it would be Xavier Legette.
Yeah, because he did get taken in the first round, but he's also on the worst team in the league.
Or no, did he get taken in the first round?
Yeah, they traded up to the 32nd pick in the first round and drafted Legette.
Okay. And then Jets-Patriots, another game we got wrong. Aaron Rodgers is washed, dude. How the do you lose to the Patriots? And Jacoby Brissett came in, and they still lost.
I've always been a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, even when he was
I still am.
Even when he was on the Packers, and I'm a Vikings fan, it was kind of hard to like hate him because he was so good, and I kind of like just how he's not scared of saying how he feels. However, he's kind of just gotten to the point where he's kind of a crybaby. He can't take any blame or acknowledge what he's doing wrong, in my opinion. And he
didn't do anything wrong last week. He played great last week.
How many points did they put up against the Patriots?
But he didn't throw interceptions. He had a great QBR. Like, he played fine last week.
You can have a good QBR if you're not putting up points. Who does that fall on?
Well, even Aaron Rodgers, so you are right. Aaron Rodgers said, if we're not putting up 30 a week, it's a disappointment.
And it's just, dude.
Did you see what he said about the dark?
No, I didn't see that.
Aaron Rodgers is so funny.
He's hilarious.
So you know how he did the darkness retreat, right?
Yeah.
Where he stayed in darkness for like 2 days?
Yeah, the ayahuasca retreat.
The new coach said something like, we're in a dark place right now. And Aaron Rodgers was like, I've been in the dark. I'm adjusted to it.
He's so weird. But he's so funny.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where he's like, I've been in the dark.
But I said before, and I'll say it again, I said it before the game even happened, y'all were not in a position to trade for Devontae Adams, especially a third rounder. You could really get some good talent with a third rounder in the NFL. There was no reason to trade for Devontae Adams. I get what you're trying to do, but you're now 2-5. You're almost to a point where you should trade Devontae Adams before the deadline, which is insane to say because I don't think that would ever happen. I don't know if that's ever happened. If like a star receiver's gone somewhere and they got to trade within 2 weeks, they won't. But you're to a point where you should. Yeah. I think Aaron Rodgers, he may play next year. I think if they finish how they're playing now, there's no point in him playing next season because he's a part of the problem at this point.
No, I think he plays next. If he doesn't end the season on an injury, he'll go one more year for sure.
I know, but I think that's worst case scenario for the Jets, if I'm being honest. I think the faster they can move on and really rebuild, the better.
Okay, and then Ravens-Browns, Jameis Winston. How come the Ravens are so good against good teams and so bad against bad teams?
That's really a good point. I mean, Lamar played a decent game.
Is it the running style that's the problem?
No, I think Lamar played a decent game. There were a couple drops. First off, Kyle Hamilton dropped a game-stealing interception. He has to take some of the blame. Lamar Jackson overthrew Zay Flowers on an easy touchdown.
But the Zay Flowers one people are giving Lamar shit for, Zay Flowers did an extra hezzy.
But Lamar still overthrew him.
But I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? So Lamar's not betting on the extra hezzy when he releases it.
But how do you know that's not in the play call?
True. But I'm saying if it is, you can't, but you don't understand those
Regardless, he overthrew him enough that I don't think it would have mattered. Even if he doesn't make that extra hezzy, it's still a yard in front of him.
I'm not blaming Zay Flowers. I'm not blaming Lamar. I think it was just
I'm saying even if he doesn't make that extra move, Zay Flowers still has to make an insane catch to catch that ball.
No, I think it's an extra second away from being a dot.
But he also wasn't that separated. Maybe he had to make that extra move to get separated from the ball. I think Lamar needs to take a bit of the blame. But Jameis Winston balled out. Deshaun Watson was the problem.
He looked good.
He threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. What do you mean,
No, but
he threw one bad ball that was a dropped interception.
No, he had 2 dropped interceptions.
That's not true. Who else dropped an interception?
In the end zone. He had 1 dropped in the end zone. A really bad one in the end zone.
Regardless, hey, the stats don't lie. The stats do lie sometimes.
Hey, I'm a fan of Jameis. But
and all I'm going to say, regardless of...
Denzel Ward looked beautiful. that game.
Regardless of if the stats should have been worse or not, Jameis Winston came in, won the game, looked 10 times better than Deshaun Watson ever has in this offense. People were telling Stefanski that he should have been benching or cutting Deshaun Watson. He didn't want to, and God sent him a gift by tearing Deshaun Watson's
I don't
Achilles.
think it's Kevin Stefanski.
He literally said he wasn't going to bench Deshaun Watson. He said that himself.
No, I know. I think the owner is telling him that he has to start.
He's the head coach. He gets the call at the end of the day. He won Coach of the Year last year. Who cares?
I don't think.
I think because regardless, say the owner says it, he says he doesn't. I guarantee you, he would much rather go coach another team than the Browns. Anyways, the Browns are a terrible organization where everybody goes to die. I think Kevin Stefanski didn't want to bench Deshaun Watson for whatever reason.
Okay.
I mean, maybe the owner did say something, but I think it still falls on Stefanski as the head coach. I think when it comes to benching a quarterback, the head coach should have more say than the owner because the head coach actually knows ball, and especially coming off of a coach of the year.
No, I agree, but no, because the owner's the owner and the coach is the coach.
But guess what? It's Stefanski. Guess what?
I agree with you, but I'm saying.
But guess what? You get fired by the Browns. Guess what? You go somewhere else who isn't a terrible organization.
He's going to the Eagles. He's going to the Bucks.
Exactly. Exactly. So.
And then Eagles, Bengals, man.
My thing
Joe Burrow didn't look like shit.
The
Bengals just look like shit.
Joe Burrow didn't play up to how he's been playing the rest of the season, though. That's my thing. And
true. But so for the Bengals to have any slight chance, Joe Burrow has to look God mode. Like that's just not fair to Joe
exactly.
Burrow.
Their defense has been terrible all year, and Joe Burrow should have the luxury of being able to play below expectations every now and then, like Mahomes has had this year. And I really thought it was going to be more of a shootout. It was a pretty decently high-scoring game, but I just didn't see the Eagles winning a shootout, which they haven't really been able to all year. They've been slowly climbing up and up. Jalen Hurts has been looking better and better. Saquon has been looking better and better. And now that they got their weapons back, I do think the Eagles will probably, even though the Commanders have looked good, I do think the Eagles will probably take the division.
I agree exactly. And then Falcons, Bucks, I'll talk about this. You can talk about it. Our defense is abysmal. Kirk Cousins only looks good against the Buccaneers. We started off the drive with a fumble on our second play. You're not going to win games doing that. We had a fake punt. We were down 7 on the 30-yard line, ran a flea flicker. Baker still threw a bad ball. It's part play calling, part quarterback. Probably more the blame on the quarterback. I'm fine with that. Baker threw a really bad pick where, honestly, A.J. Terrell made a great read and bit then unbit. It was a beautiful play as like a cornerback. You can't even, it's like a lot of quarterbacks are making that throw. But, man, dude, the fact that we constantly put up a lot of points and our defense looks like shit and can't ever bail us out is ridiculous.
It's the same thing as Joe Burrow. Like, Baker... It all falls on Baker at the end of the day. No, I'm not saying it actually does, but from criticism, TV, fans, it all falls on Baker at the end of the day because he's expected to put up 30-plus points every week because their defense can't stop anything. But I would just like to read this text I sent you before the week started. Also, I would switch my pick to the Falcons now that the Bucks receivers are hurt, but I won't do that to you. So I knew the Falcons were going to win the game, but I got respect for him over here. I already pissed him off last game because I put a parlay on the Falcons to do good and then was hoping the big Bucks would go to overtime, and then they lost in overtime. So I had to make up for it a little bit. I did know the Falcons were going to win this game, but, I mean, there really was a
we had a great chance.
At the end there, y'all really did have a chance. I swear every time Baker has a Hail Mary opportunity, he overthrows it. His arm is so good, and I don't think he realizes how good his arm is.
That's the most mad I've been at Baker in a long time. Like, I was just so mad. I'm like,
because here's the thing, y'all.
You didn't give a chance.
Hail Mary isn't very likely of happening anyways, but at least like don't throw it at the goalpost, you know.
And then Bears Commanders, I got wrong. I still think I made the right pick because the Commanders only scored field goals.
Their only touchdown was
a Hail Mary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the Bears.
But
it sucks for Caleb. That was such a good drive.
I don't think it sucks for Caleb it does suck for Caleb, obviously, but I don't necessarily think like I made the wrong pick either because both teams' offenses did not play good. And my thing is, I think Caleb honestly had a worse performance than Jaden Daniels, regardless of how it actually looked, because the Bears have had a very good defense this season. The Commanders have been one of the bottom defenses in the league, and Caleb's not managing to put up points against a defense that abysmal, honestly. And I think it really should fall on Caleb. Because the thing is, if Caleb actually puts points on the board before the fourth quarter, they win that game easily. He struggled all game against a defense that has been bad all season. Okay, I told Zach this, and I owe you an apology slightly. I've been giving the Bears offensive line slack all year because I've been saying Caleb holds onto the ball too long, which I do still think is slightly true. However, that game, you're playing against a defense that has not looked good all year. Their pass rush has not been good all year. Caleb had no time the whole entire game. So I do think the Bears offensive line, admittedly, is worse than I admitted before, so I owe everybody an apology. However, you're the number 1 overall pick. You're supposed to be a game changer. You got to put up more points than that.
Exactly.
You got to do more before
It's
the fourth quarter.
We're both right. Like, I'm saying, like,
neither of us made the wrong pick. It could have gone either way.
Exactly. The Bears deserve to win because the Commanders didn't get a touchdown except
and then the
game
Commanders
winning.
deserve to win because the Bears couldn't put up points against one of the worst defenses in the league.
And then the one game difference that we haven't talked about that you got wrong was Bills Seahawks. If you want to talk about why you picked the Seahawks.
You know, I told Lennon this. I did not know DK was not going to play. However, I don't think it would have changed anything, and I think that was just an overall bad pick by me, but I said I was going to go with my gut the rest of the season. My gut said Seahawks, so I went with my gut, and I picked the Seahawks, but it was a terrible pick, and I'm willing to admit that.
I know, man. If only the fucking, like...
If the Bears won, you'd only be down by 4.
I know, dude. That's just so
Or if
frustrating.
both of the games you got wrong this week were so close.
I know, dude. But the Packers-Jaguars...
I went from being down 5 to up 5, by the way. I told you guys the greatest comebacks require the greatest deficits, but now you got to make the comeback.
Exactly. So let's get into the Week 9 picks. Thursday game. I'm rocking the Jets jersey. Hey, this jersey's fire. Jamal Adams, throwback jersey. It's not really a throwback, but it's the old school uniform.
Yeah.
Jets, Texans, who do you got?
This does slightly feel like a trap game. Texans have kind of been slowing down a little bit. They are missing Nico Collins. They've been slowing down a little bit. The Jets have kind of sucked, but their defense has been decent. However, I do have the Texans. I think this will be kind of a boring game. I have the final score 24-16. I just think with how good the Texans' pressure has been, I think they still lead the league in pressures as of right now. Aaron Rodgers has already not been playing up to his expectations. I don't see him playing good with the Texans' pass rush, and I think the Texans honestly barely squeak this one out, but I do think the Texans take it. They just have a better team, and that's what it's going to come down to.
I agree. I think the Texans had the better team. I think Aaron Rodgers looked mediocre this year, but I knew you'd pick the Texans, and I knew the Jets have a chance, and I know I need to crawl my way back, so I picked the Jets. Based off,
it does feel like a
trap game. It absolutely.
I could really see this one going either way. I just gotta go. I gotta go with a safe pick.
I need this game so bad. Let's get into new games. What new game do you have first?
Cowboys at Falcons. You want to go first or want me to go?
You go first.
This game really could go either way. I think if I pick this a little bit later, I did go back and look at these, so I guess I can't make that excuse. I have the Falcons winning. I think the Cowboys haven't been great at stopping the run this year. I think Bijan's gonna have a very good game. I think Dak is not going to be able to throw the ball very well against that safety duo that the Falcons have. And I don't know. I think this is going to be a very interesting game. It's going to be a little sluggish. I have the Falcons winning by 6 points, 23-17.
She's bouncing off my booty cheeks. I love the way she ride. Give me the Cowboys.
Can I ask why you changed the word he to she in a song that's supposed to be gay?
Because I'm drunk. Honestly...
I think the Cowboys could very easily win.
The exact reason is because Kirk Cousins has looked like shit every game, unless if it's Buccaneers.
That is true, but I think
I really need the Falcons to lose this game.
That is true, but I think it's gonna be more of a Bijan/defense win. The only thing that worries me is the Falcons have not been able to generate pressure whatsoever this year.
It's bad.
But I really want to talk about the Cowboys.
I don't think Baker got sacked once, did he?
I couldn't tell you, but. The one thing I want to say about the Cowboys, like that last drive where you're down 6 with a chance to win the game, I really don't like their approach. You're going for chunk plays on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down where you have the 2-minute warning still. You have plenty of time. And Cavante Turpin, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, if I'm being honest. Whatever it is, he should have caught that ball. However, that's why you don't go for chunk plays every play, because shit like that happens. You got to take your 5-6 yards, make it a convertible first down when you still have the clock on your side. You shouldn't be going for chunk plays on every play in a clutch drive. And I could see the Falcons taking a little bit of a lead this game, and I don't think Dak Prescott will be able to put together a game-winning drive. Next up, I have Broncos at Ravens. After last week, who knows how this game's going to go, but I think the Ravens bounce back and do beat the Broncos. I mean, Bo Nix actually did play a pretty good game, but he was playing against the Panthers, so at this point, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Did you see J.C. Horn? That's his name, right?
Yeah, I was talking shit to Sean
Talking shit to Sean Payton. Be like, you're running up the score. It's like, maybe don't suck ass and he won't run up the score.
That's so trashy, dude.
Sean Payton or J.C. Horn?
J.C. Horn.
Agreed. Because,
like, bro, you're an NFL player talking shit to another coach for doing his job.
Not even just that. Don't complain about running up the score. Maybe if you're that mad, stop them from running up the score.
I mean, I get being a little frustrated for running up the score and you're on a shitty team, you're a good player.
But they weren't even really running up the score.
I agree. Absolutely. I agree. But I'm saying from J.C. Horn's perspective, you know me, I'll think both sides. I get being a little frustrated, but doing now where cameras are around, like, dude, come on, your
Not
team
even the
sucks.
cameras being around, just don't say anything
And
at
it's
all.
just disrespectful.
And
to
I
another
feel like
coach.
it's more embarrassing than anything to
Agreed.
say it because you're
Agreed.
admitting that you're terrible and you couldn't stop anything. And they had, but who do you have for Broncos Ravens?
I think you said it perfectly. Would not shock me if the Broncos pull it off, but you got to go the Ravens.
And the Ravens probably have a bounce back game. Next up, I have Dolphins at Bills. The Dolphins historically, especially since the Tua era, just don't play good against the Bills. I picked the Dolphins the first time they played, and I learned my lesson. I am going to take the Bills in this game. I do think the Dolphins play slightly better, and hopefully Tua doesn't have a seizure on the field this time. But I have the Bills winning 35-24. I think the Bills' offense has looked great, and I just don't think Tua is going to be able to keep up, and I think the Dolphins are in for a pretty rough season so far.
I think the Dolphins are probably in for a rough season. Very well spoken. Josh Allen's played great ball. His first interception last week. But the Bills are due for a loss, and the Dolphins are due for a win. So I got the Dolphins this week.
Interesting.
I think Tyreek is going to go the off. Tyreek's going to have a good 30-point
and the Bills don't really have
fantasy
much
game.
of a secondary, but I
No
think
secondary
the
at all.
Bills have a very well-coached defense. And I think
Sean McDermott's a stud.
personally think most of the NFL, kind of have the Dolphins figured out, at least defensively, like
Yeah, going
the
against
team
them.
that's playing them. And I think the Bills will play too high the whole entire game. I think Tyreek won't have too crazy of a game. I think he'll have a better game than he did against the Cardinals, but I don't think he's going to
Nah, Tyreek's going to go the
ball
fuck
out
off this week.
Next up, I have Saints at Panthers. This is a game I probably won't be watching because Red Zone will be on, and this game's not going to pop up much. I originally had the Panthers, but after last week, and especially with the Saints having a pretty decent defense, I just don't see a world where Bryce Young comes out and wins this game. I have the Saints winning 14-13. Spencer Rattler's ass, Bryce Young's ass. I think it's going to come down to whichever defense is better,
Yeah.
and I think the Saints defense is worlds better than the Panthers.
If it was Spencer Rattler versus Andy Dalton, do you go with the Panthers? If my
probably.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I was so confused. I just wanted to say pick with the Saints as well. They both suck. No, don't need to move
Next
on.
up, I have Raiders at Bengals. I will say the Raiders defense put up a pretty good fight against the Chiefs, but when Gardner Minshew's your quarterback, I just don't think you can compete in games against good teams. I do think the Raiders will put up some points, but I think the Bengals will easily take this one. I have the final score 30-17. Bengals are coming off a loss. They really need a win, and they're playing a pretty subpar team, so I do think the Bengals take this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I think this is a crucial moment of the season for the Bengals. If they lose this,
They can miss playoffs.
no,
They
if
already could miss playoffs.
No, if they lose this, they're done for the season.
Pretty
If
much,
they
yeah.
win this,
If they lose this, T. Higgins gets traded at the deadline.
can he get traded after noon? What's the trade deadline on week 8? Because this is week 9.
But the deadline's like November something. I
Okay.
think this is I'm not sure. Honestly, this could be after the deadline. It could be before. I don't know.
But you think they lose, there's a good chance.
If they lose and it's
and if they
before,
can.
if they lose and it happens before the deadline, I know the deadline's like the 3rd or the 4th. I'm not sure the exact date. If they lose and it's before the deadline, I think T. Higgins is on.
Well, let's see.
the
So
team.
Thursday, so Friday's the 1st, Saturday's the 2nd,
Sunday would
Sunday's
be the 3rd.
the 3rd. So there's, who knows?
Who knows?
It's gonna be close.
I don't know the exact date. Next up, I have Chargers at Browns. Browns put up a pretty good fight against the Raiders, against the Ravens, which makes this game interesting. But kind of like the last game, I think the Chargers really need a win here. I think Harbaugh's going to find a way to win this game. I don't think the Browns get the magic they had. The magic potion ran out, as you would say.
Yeah, literally. Man, I really wanted you to pick the Browns this game because I think the Chargers got this pretty easily. I think this is too
This is going to be a boring game.
boring game. It's gonna be a lot of smash mouth defensive football,
Yeah.
running the ball, getting those 3rd down and 2s is gonna be real crucial. Harbaugh is gonna make Jameis Winston pay sometimes. And
Yep.
that's really all I gotta say.
I think so too. Next up, I have Commanders at Giants. Giants, although the score margin was pretty bad, I think they put up a pretty decent fight
They
against
put
the
up a fight every
Steelers.
week, man.
A very good team. Last time they played the Commanders didn't score a single touchdown and managed to win the game. And now the Commanders have really caught their stride, and they're actually going to put up points. So I think the Commanders do take this. It's a division game, so I have a close score. I have the final score 24-20. I just think the Commanders are hot right now. The Giants aren't hot, and I do think the Commanders are going to take this one.
Perfectly well spoken, my brother. I literally can't. I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants somehow pull it out of their ass. The Giants always pull shit out of their ass.
Next
all the
up,
time.
game of the week.
Woo!
I'm lying, by the way.
I know, mid versus mid. No,
Patriots.
No, it's not even mid.
Shit
Garbage
versus shit.
versus garbage.
I hope Drake May's back.
No, I don't think
He
so.
had a
with
concussion, so
yeah,
he's probably not.
gonna be back.
Patriots at Titans. I have the Patriots. I don't really know. They beat the Jets,
Will
who is
Levis
a better
is back.
team.
Do you change?
No, I think Mason Rudolph is worlds better than Will
Dang
Levis.
it,
Mason
man.
Rudolph.
I was really hoping you picked the
Mason
Titans.
Rudolph. The first half of the game looked really good, against the Bills, or I'm sorry, against the Lions. But
Mason
the
Rudolph
Titans,
looked like shit, dude.
the first half of the game, he looked good. Calvin really had 100 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, he was good.
But
he's on pace.
also,
for like
the thing
70
is, the
fantasy
Titans
points.
every game almost have looked good in the first quarter / second half, and then managed to choke.
It's almost like they shouldn't have fired.
I'm gonna be
really
honest.
Good head coach.
I think if Jacoby Brissett's playing, the Titans do have a chance to win this game. I just really don't give a shit who wins this game because I don't really care because they're both terrible.
I think the Patriots have more confidence.
I think the Patriots is just a safer pick, so I went with them.
Fair. Let's get into the 3 o'clock games. Bears, Cardinals. Who you got?
This is probably the hardest game to pick for me, if I'm being honest. I think
Was it hard to pick because you know how I pick?
No, it's hard to pick because I genuinely don't know who's going to
So
win this game.
you don't think like, oh, Lennon's probably picking these guys. You just pick Eugene.
I do think I know who you picked. I think you picked the Bears.
I did not pick the Bears.
Oh, well then we have the same pick. I picked the Cardinals.
Damn it!
This was a
Alex.
really hard game to pick.
Damn it.
The Cardinals offense has struggled against good defenses, but
Yes.
after last week, I just don't really have faith in Caleb Williams for this season. I do think he has a good career in the future, but I just don't have faith in him. I think Kyler's going to have a decent game. I think James Conner's going to have a pretty damn good game. This is really a toss-up for me. I think this is practically a coin flip. This game could go either way, but I just like the Cardinals more, so I picked the Cardinals.
And I really wanted you to pick the Bears. I almost picked the Bears too, but you know me, I love the Cardinals.
Switch to the Bears. Do it.
I'm not switching. Yeah, man. I think Kyler's just gonna outplay Caleb.
Yeah. I'm going to say this one because I want to give my pick before you. Jags at Eagles. I think this is going to be a shootout. And like I said in the Bengals game, I don't think the Eagles are capable of winning a shootout. I think Jags' offense has looked good. Their defense has looked bad. But I think I kind of am at a weird point where I might have more faith in the Jags' offense than the Eagles' offense. And I have the Jags winning this game 41-38 in Philadelphia.
You can't we literally I was looking so good at the beginning where it's like, oh, we're getting some games differently. You know I picked the Jags. So you did the safe pick.
I went with my gut.
And guess what? I'm lying. Eagles! Bird country. I learned my lesson. Dude, I swear to God at the Jags.
No, watch. The one time I picked them, they're going to win.
It's gonna be so
They've been competitive in every game, and I don't think the Eagles...
I just don't think...
The Eagles have been hot, but I think the Jags, like you would say, are due for a win. I think the Eagles are due for a loss, and I think the Jags, it's going to be a shootout, and I think the Jags take it.
I would love if the one time...
My final score is 41-38. If that is the actual final score of this game, I am God reincarnated. I think, like, on paper, it's not the game of the week, but I think it will end up being game of the week just because I think it's going to be a
It'll
really
be a great
game.
3 o'clock game.
Or actually, no, next game of the week. Lions at Packers. This was also a hard-ass game to decide. However, I think the Lions are the best team in the league. Jordan Love, I think he will be back from his injury. I heard it's not very serious, and there's really no serious damage, so I think he'll be back. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game, but I think the Lions are able to run and pass the ball better. I think Jordan Love has a turnover problem, and the Lions have been good on forcing turnovers. I think Jordan Love throws maybe even 2 interceptions, and I think they still keep it a close game. I have the final score, Lions 31, Packers 30. Very close divisional game. Who gives a shit who wins? Because I need both teams to lose for the Vikings, but that can't happen unless they tie. Please tie. But I have the Lions winning.
If we have different picks in a tie, we just even it out.
I mean, our score would just be something, something, and 1.
True. What's your favorite kind of cheese?
Pepper Jack.
Really? I'm a
Yeah.
Colby Jack kind of guy.
But I'm guessing that means you picked the Packers.
I do got the Packers. But if Jordan Love's out, this is my one. If Jordan Love's out,
I think he's playing though, so I think he should be fine.
if Jordan Love miraculously is out, I'm changing my pick. That's fair. I
No,
think that's more than
that's
fair.
perfectly fair.
But yes, I got.
I don't hate that pick. I think this
This
game
feels like a setup game.
I don't
the
think it-
Lions have looked godly, dude. Godly. Like it doesn't seem realistic how good they are. You
But
know
the
what I'm
only
saying?
reason I disagree is because this doesn't feel like a setup game. Because I personally think this game could go either way. I don't think this is like a huge favor. Because it's
True.
also it's at Lambeau too. Like it really, I do think this game could go either way. I have the Lions winning by 1 point. I really don't know who's going to win this game. I just feel more confident in the Lions. I have like a lot of these games this week really could go either way.
Very true.
Next up, I have Rams at Seahawks. I think I originally had the Seahawks because I did these picks super early because I thought we were going to record with Jacob. And then I remembered what happened last week twice because the Seahawks, and then I'll bleep that out. And then the Rams beat one of the best teams in the league. And the Rams with their weapons are just insane. I think the Rams win this one by 2 possessions over the Seahawks, 31-20.
Do you think the Rams have a good chance of winning their division right now?
The division is pretty bad. I think the Niners will end up taking it. I think the
agree.
Niners catch their stride.
But the Rams make
the
it
Rams will be
run for
competing
it.
for a wild card spot. The NFC is just so competitive. It's really hard to tell who's going to get all the wild card spots
It's
this
going
year.
to be really interesting when we get down. I agree exactly what you said. I got the Rams.
Next up, Colts at Vikings got flexed into primetime over the Bengals game. Who did the Bengals play again? I already forgot.
Raiders.
Oh, I'm glad that game got flexed.
But Colts, like, how many good Vikings games have there been?
This
and they
shouldn't
put the
happen.
Colts.
Yeah, of all the
Vikings.
games to get flexed. I do have the Vikings. I feel like the Vikings' record this year when I pick against them is undefeated, and their record when I pick them is like 2-1. So, or no, because I picked the Lions. So, but regardless, I think the record's better.
If it was guaranteed the Vikings win if you pick against them,
I'd pick against them every week.
and you just take the risk of the May dress?
Yes.
Pretty real, because I would do that for the Bucks.
But I do think there's no way I pick the Colts in this game. It does taking myself outside of the shoes of a Vikings fan. This also kind of feels like a trap game because the Colts are capable of scoring points, but our defense has been, other than the last 2 games, our defense has been good, which is kind of a weird
I
sentence
don't think
to say.
y'all's defense even looked bad. Y'all just played some really
Against
good
the Rams,
offenses.
I don't think we looked very good.
That's a really, like, Stafford's good, man.
But against the
And-
Lions, I really was not happy with how our defense
But
played.
the
Allowing
Lions-
21 points in 1 quarter.
True.
But
True.
if we lose this game to the Colts, I'm being so dead ass. I'm bought out for the season. We're not making the playoffs. We're a terrible team, and I'm back to how I was before the season started.
Really?
If we win this game, I get a little bit of confidence back. I really hope we win this game. If we lose
This
this game,
is a must-win. This is
a must win.
for
If we
y'all.
lose this game, because we can't afford, after losing 2 games, even though we have a good record, with how good our division is, we can't afford to lose games that we need to win.
Yeah.
So we need to win this game. I'm going to take the Vikings. I have us winning 30-17.
I'm out of breath.
Is that choking? Yeah.
I'm out of breath. Tap me out, coach.
Oh, you're being Anthony
Bro,
Richardson.
here's the thing. Have you seen the thing about bringing in, like, the pitchers for quarterbacks? Like,
Yeah.
getting a few different... that's kind of interesting, like, the concept of that.
It was like sign Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco, the thing like listing all the good backups. Yeah.
I get that, but, man, like, that's just a bitch move.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, never once in my life... Think about it. We both played sports forever. How tired were you ever where we're like...
Oh, no, I faked like 10 injuries to get it taken out of games. Or no,
I never
it
did.
was really only in practice. But I also faked an injury to get out of running the mile because I asked not to. I also hid in the bathroom one time to get out of running the mile.
I never did.
But that was more of a coaching problem because I told him I was scheduled for the 800, the 1600, and the 2400.
Yeah.
I didn't want to run the 1600. I told him I didn't want to. He put me in it anyway.
Well,
so
I think about a
go fuck
basketball
yourself.
game where you knew your team needed you.
Oh,
Like,
if it's
you're
a
gonna-
game, I'm never doing that. But there were
Exactly.
multiple practices where I faked an injury
Exactly.
because I was tired.
Like, dude, I don't think, I was showing Annie, like, I was telling Annie, like, I was teaching her what tapping on the head means when a player wants subbed out. And I literally looked at her, I was like, I don't think I ever did that once in my life. Because I played quarterback for years, right? So you don't get to sub out, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I never once ever subbed out unless if I got hit in the gut and lost my breath of air or something and got taken out for a play and went back in. But, like, never once playing receiver was I like, I'm dead. I'm dead. Dude, suck it the fuck up and go run the next play, dude. You do cardio for a reason. Run better cardio, Anthony
I
Richardson.
agree. Last game of the week, Bucks at Chiefs. I'm going to let you go first on this one. I'll let you take the...
No, you go first.
You want me to go first?
Go first.
I have the Chiefs.
Fair.
I think if the Bucks have a healthy roster, this would be a way more interesting game. I think Mahomes hasn't looked great this season. He looked pretty decent against the Raiders. He did throw an interception, but it was tipped by the D-line, which, you know me, like, I don't think you should make excuses for quarterback throwing interceptions. Like, I still think it's his fault. He threw it at the D-line's hands.
Yep.
That's how it goes. But the Bucks defense isn't good. So I don't think he's going to – I think this is Mahomes' first really, really good game of the
Mahomes
season.
got over 800 yards.
No, Mahomes is going to go insane. I don't think Baker's going to be able to keep up without having his receivers there. I have the final score 27-17 Chiefs. You should pick the Chiefs just to be safe.
I got the Buccaneers. I'm not going to not pick the Buccaneers, man. You know me. I'm not going to pick the Buccaneers.
You can't let your bias get in the way,
No.
though.
The only reason, this is the only reason why I would not pick the Bucks is because since I've been a Bucks fan, we have not won a Monday night game.
I'm just saying, like, think about how many times I haven't picked the Vikings this year. Like,
I don't
sometimes
care.
you
I
got to
don't
let your
care.
bias
I
get out
don't
of the
care.
way.
I don't care. I would rather be
So
a
you
major.
can't admit going into a game that you're probably going to lose.
I don't think we're going to lose. I think we're going to win. I think, here's the thing. The Chiefs don't need a win. We need a win. We desperately need a win. Mahomes is not going to die.
But that doesn't change
Hold on.
talent.
Mahomes is not going to die on that field for this win. Baker will.
I think Mahomes,
Baker? Don't die on the field.
I think
I know
Mahomes is a more competitive player than Baker Mayfield.
No. I think Baker Mayfield is the most competitive player in the NFL.
Mahomes is more competitive.
I'm not taking anything away from Mahomes. Mahomes top 5. But
I think you have a little bit of
anybody wants-
bias, too.
No, I don't think anybody wants to win more than Baker. It's to the point where, like, I see Baker do shit sometimes. I look at him and he's like, does he not realize that him being in for the season is more important than this 3rd and 10 run.
You know how I always give like my most confident game of the week? I think this one takes it this week.
Hopefully you're wrong.
Also, like all of these games, other than Bengals, Raiders, like
they're
Commanders,
like,
Giants, like most of these games really could go either
We have
way.
1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 different games. If I win,
You could be
I'm
up by the end of the week.
Hopefully,
Maybe you'll go perfect like I did that one week.
I know.
And
That'd be big. Or hey, if we both get every game wrong except the ones we have different, I'd be happy. But shout out Steelers, shout out 49ers. Both came off of big wins going into bye weeks. I think that's big for both teams.
dude, the Steelers are looking good. I really am a fan of the Steelers. You have a good defense, and Russ makes that offense. Honestly, I really liked how Justin Fields plays, but Russ makes that offense look so much better. Like I told you during the game, Russ has the best deep ball in the league. I don't care. Like you can talk more about arm strength. I'm not saying he's the best arm strength. He is the best, most accurate deep ball in the league. If you're throwing 30 plus, 40 plus yards, I want Russ throwing the ball.
I think deep ball, I get like there's gonna be arguments, but I think it's a bullshit roll out to this way, throw this way, roll out to this way, throw this way.
And I think Russ is better at every other
30
quarterback
yards
than
down
doing
the
it.
field, and you have to hit an inch target. You know what quarterback has the most chance?
I mean, I would say Aaron Rodgers if it wasn't this season.
Yeah,
but
Russell Wilson, dude, is insane.
No, Russell Wilson, I think he has the best deep ball in the league.
I have a bunch of Russell Wilson rookie cards. Won a Super Bowl, go to the Hall of Fame.
You have I have a 9.5 graded Odell Beckham rookie card, and then he just fell off.
I have a 10 out of 10 Russell Wilson rookie card, so hopefully it makes all.
Yeah, but Odell sold.
So guys, we want to do something kind of Halloweeny. This isn't a Halloween episode. We were kind of debating wearing Spider-Man suits, but we didn't. So we're gonna do a candy draft. So we're gonna each get 5 picks. I guess we can flip a coin or something. Who gets the first pick?
That's what I was just about to do.
And then y'all vote down. So it's really gonna be Matt or Logan gets a vote, and they're gonna pick you because I'm picking on candy. And yeah. So yeah, let's. Flip
All right.
a
So
coin for
call
picks.
screen or case. Which one you want?
Just ask Siri to flip a coin.
That's so much less fun.
Tails. No, I got heads. Sorry,
Flip a coin.
got heads.
It doesn't say it, but it was heads. You won.
Okay, cool. With my first pick, what's funny is neither of our top 5 candies are each other's top 5 candies.
So basically, we're just picking our top 5.
Exactly.
candidates.
I'm going York peppermint
That's
patties.
the worst first overall pick
Nah,
I think
that's
ever
my
taken by
favorite
anybody.
candy. I love those.
First
candies.
overall, the easiest number 1 overall pick in the world. I have the Reese's peanut butter cup. This guy doesn't like peanut butter chocolate, so I get the free
Yeah.
best first overall pick. And
I
I'm
hate
glad to
I
take
hate
it.
Reese's. Like you're gonna get a lot of points for that. I literally would throw up if I ate a Reese's. And it's not against. I just don't like peanut butter chocolate. My next pick. This is a sleeper. Not a lot of people know about Evil Twins gummies. You know about them because I put you
No,
on
they're
them back in the
good,
day.
but-
One side sour, one side sweet. Whew, do your homework.
Next up, I'm just gonna go with the Sour Patch Kid because I think it's a similar candy that's honestly better and more popular.
Sour Patch Kids are too sour for me.
You know what's funny? As I've gotten older, I swear Sour Patch Kids aren't sour anymore.
Really?
I swear they're sweet.
They got more sour for me.
That's funny. I swear they're not.
But they
sour
are.
anymore.
They have gotten more sweet too.
But I'm gonna go with the Sour Patch Kid.
But it's not sour where I'm like, but it's just, I think sweet's the right thing where it's like, I can't eat a bunch of these. They're going to fuck my
Oh no!
stomach
Whenever
up.
I eat a bunch of sweet candy, I get like I don't feel good.
Yeah. My next pick. We're going with Twizzlers. The best movie theater candy.
Twizzlers are dog shit.
No, I love
they are
Twizzlers.
so gross.
Shout
They're
out
not even
Papa.
good. I won't eat Twizzlers at all. They're gross.
Shout out Papa, dude. So one time,
Twizzlers. If you like Twizzlers, you are.
I think the
moron.
first time I ever had a Twizzler. So Papa, our grandpa, he's never watching this. If you watch it, shout out. So remember when he quit smoking cigarettes
Yeah.
after he had his heart attack? He got addicted to Twizzlers.
Twizzlers are disgusting.
And we went on a road trip to Dallas one time, and we like stayed at one of our family's house or something. We went to a Rangers game for my 10th or 13th birthday. Really random trip. Like it was just me and him. And dude, he bought like the biggest pack of Twizzlers and was just like munching on them on the trip. I remember I had them and it was like, oh. And he hates them too, but like
They're disgusting.
If I'm going to get a snack at the movie theater, I'm getting Twizzlers. I love
are
Twizzlers.
so gross. Next up, I didn't even write this down, but I randomly thought of it. I'm gonna go with the Skittle. Very versatile, very good candy. I cannot believe this guy just took. You could have waited till the 5th overall picks to take Twizzlers because they are genuinely disgusting. Like
I love Twizzlers. though.
they're so gross.
See, you f***ed up. You picked Skittles. I'm picking the superior Skittles. The green packaging. Give me sour Skittles.
Okay, I was kind of just imagining I got all the Skittles whenever I did that, but you know what? I guess
Sour Skittles. Do you like sour Skittles better than normal Skittles?
I do.
Remember COM when we would go to the shop and get sour Skittles?
I do remember that.
Oh.
Next up,
And it was funny. Mom never gave us any money.
it was always Dad.
It was always Dad.
Next up, I'm just gonna keep it basic. I'm gonna go with the Snickers. Nothing hits better than a nice old
You
Snickers
pick Snickers
bar.
last, and that is your favorite.
No, I like
It's-
Reese's more than
But
Snickers.
Snickers is your go-to probably.
Like if I'm going to a gas station or like I'm eating a candy bar, like anywhere, I do normally get Snickers.
I've seen
first.
you eat way more Snickers than Reese's over the time.
Yeah, because I just don't eat candy anymore, and I feel like Snickers is less candy-ish than Reese's, if that makes sense. I don't know why.
It doesn't make any sense, honestly. They're both chocolate.
But Reese's, I feel like is sweeter and more like candier.
I don't eat
Snickers
either,
has
so
like nuts.
I
and
trust
it's
your
more
opinion. I
like-
don't either. My last pick. This is probably my favorite. This is the best candy bar, undisputed for me. Any other candy bar, I don't really
Are you
like.
gonna say Three Musketeers?
Oh, I do like Three Musketeers, but
Okay.
I'm not saying Three Musketeers. Hershey's, cookies, and cream. Fire.
Let me just say, that shit is so overrated.
Really? You don't like it?
Yes, I used to like them as a kid. Now that I'm older, they are disgusting.
Really?
They're
I haven't
or no, okay,
tried-
no, not disgusting, but they're too sweet. Like I'm too
I haven't
old.
I haven't had it in a few years, but like if I ever, back in the day, whenever I was a little more of a menace, and I randomly am more hungry at a gas station,
Yeah.
that's probably catching my eye. But man, just I'm a whore for anything cookies. And
I
cream.
just I like them.
I
a lot
really
as a
want to try the
kid.
Feastables.
Yeah,
one.
no, or it's probably not that good.
probably the same
Last
at
pick,
Hershey's.
I'm gonna go Twix. I really love a Twix bar. I think Twix
Left
is
or right?
left. I think Twix is a lot better than a lot of the candies I listed before this. I really love a Twix. Nice little crunch, nice little chocolate, nice
What's the
little
difference
caramel.
in the left and the right?
There's no difference.
Oh.
I just picked a random one. I guess I'm a liberal. Shout out Kamala Harris.
Shout out Kamala Harris.
Well, that was our candy fantasy draft segment. Happy Halloween, everybody. Make sure you're responsible on Halloween. Don't get laced from your candy and drink responsibly. Next up, this was probably the hardest list or segment we've ever done on this podcast. This
I
shit
agree.
was so hard, and I still don't even like my list, but it was too hard. I just had to finally get it over with. We're going to be giving our bottom 10 quarterbacks so far through this season. We did starting quarterbacks, but we based it off of week 8. So if they were starting week 8, you were valid for this list. If you weren't starting week 8, you weren't valid
So
for this
basically,
list.
Deshaun Watson got lucky.
Sean Watson did get lucky.
Derek Carr probably got lucky.
Derek Carr did get lucky. I would say Andy Dalton got a little bit lucky.
Andy Dalton definitely got lucky.
Oh, Will Levis got the most lucky.
Yeah, Will Levis.
Will Levis. Those are the honorable mentions. Will Levis, you deserve to be top 3 on this list.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'll go ahead and get mine. At number 10, I got Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's a bottom 10 talented quarterback in the NFL, but man, he's throwing a lot of picks this year. His team's 2-6. Like, come on, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, prove me wrong and go 11-6, please. I'd be the happiest camper.
Number 10, I have Patrick Mahomes. Do I think
fine with it.
Patrick
I'm fine with
Mahomes
it.
is a bottom 10 quarterback in the league? No.
Because you think Mahomes is second for GOAT, if not first.
I think he will be first by the time he's done.
We think
As
right
of
now he's second.
But I do think statistically and just from watching football, Mahomes has been a bottom 10 performing quarterback. He's 15th in the league in passing yards. He's 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. That's literally numbers you would get from somebody like Daniel Jones or what I thought Sam Darnold was going to look like this year. And you're just not performing the way everybody's expecting you to. You're obviously the best quarterback in the league, but statistically, you're bottom 10. So,
Perfect.
buddy.
At number 9, I got Trevor Lawrence. Same kind of deal. Super, super talented. He's made a few dumb interceptions, but I hate interceptions. It's so hard to read a defense as a quarterback. So when you throw a random interception and it costs the game because you throw an interception, your team loses by 5 points, that's really hard to depict on. But Trevor Lawrence's team sucks. He's the guy. You got to put some blame
I'm going to
on
be
him.
honest. I didn't even put Trevor Lawrence on this list because I'm kind of to the point. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is losing them games. I think the defense.
'Cause you're not a big
coaching.
Trevor Lawrence guy either.
I was a couple years ago, and then I slowly have been decreasing, but then I've kind of been going back up recently. I really think he's not the problem at the end of the
Who
day.
do you think Trevor Lawrence at 9 is fair?
Number 9, I have Dak Prescott. Hasn't been putting up the worst numbers.
Well, I don't have him in my list.
Hasn't been putting up the worst numbers. He's top 10 in passing yards this year, but he has 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions
Wow.
with only a 63 completion percentage.
He's on pace for another 17
When you,
interceptions.
and
this season.
if he wasn't the highest paid quarterback of all time, maybe he doesn't make this list. But whenever you have those expectations, you cannot be playing down to this level. And yeah, your team's not winning games. Your defense isn't the best. Your coach isn't the best, which I'm kind of giving the excuse to Trevor Lawrence, which is kind of weird. But your defense is still better than his at the end of the day. I think Dak needs to be expecting more of him, and he has not been living up to his expectations. And I don't know. Dak's just, I don't know. You belong on this list because this list was so hard and I had to put somebody there. And Dak, you haven't been playing good. That's
fair.
what it comes down to.
Number 8, how you're like, fuck, I had to put someone on the list, even though they've been pretty good this season, but they're not as good as some of the other guys. Bo Nix.
Damn, I would
know.
never imagine putting
I
Bo
know.
Nix on this list. He's been balling.
I know, dude, but he's throwing a few interceptions. There's just like Dak Prescott I didn't really think about. I could have maybe put Dak Prescott on this list, but Bo Nix is in that like 11. Like he's so 10 so hard. It's so hard.
No, it's really hard.
It's
but
so
I
hard.
would have never imagined putting Bo Nix on this list.
Hey, Bo Nix, I'm a Bo Nix defender.
Yeah. So my number 8 is slightly unfair, but we said starters from this week, so he was a starter this week. I have Tua Tagovailoa. He's obviously like bottom in passing yards because he barely played. But in the games he's played, he has 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 3 of those interceptions came from one game. You just lost to the Cardinals when you were playing before your injury. You didn't look good. You're coming back after your injury. You looked decent, but not good enough. And you're Tua Tagovailoa. You're supposed to be this guy that everybody believes in. I'm the only person on the planet, apparently, who doesn't believe in you. And you're kind of proving me right and everybody else wrong. So, Tua, you belong on this list.
At number 7, I got Daniel Jones. He's honestly is like, man, he's like, let's say the Giants are like an 80-year-old woman who has lung cancer. And Daniel Jones is that beating heart.
Yeah.
The heart's not going to last much long, but it's keeping it going right now. That's how I got to describe
Number
Daniel Jones.
7, I have Aaron Rodgers. I think
That's
little
high.
bit, like, he's probably shouldn't be this high on this list, but it's when you're supposed to be the guy who came in and changed this organization.
Win him a Super Bowl. He said he wanted to win him a Super Bowl.
You wanted to win them the Super Bowl. You made them trade a 3rd rounder for a receiver you have this connection with. They've done everything you've asked them. You're pretty much.
And it's definitely a third. It's definitely a third
Yeah.
rounder at this
And
rate.
you are pretty much the New York Packers because of what you have done to this organization. And you are
2-6.
you are top 10 in passing yards, but you've thrown 7 interceptions already.
How many touchdowns do you have?
12.
Wow.
And you only have a 61 completion percentage, and you only have 2 wins coming off of a loss to the New England Patriots, who had to start Jacoby Brissett because their quarterback got injured. You belong on this list. I don't care how bad the play calling has been. I don't care if your weapons haven't been playing up to how they've been because you were the one who wanted those weapons. You're supposed to be one of the top 10 quarterbacks, and now you're a bottom 10 quarterback. You're washed, buddy. Retire.
Very well said. Number 6. I'm gonna describe this guy, and I bet you can say who it is. Dog wants to win more than most people,
Jameis Winston.
but man, like you didn't see the one interception in the end zone, and that Kyle Hamilton interception was really bad. And here's the thing: he's gonna sling it, and he's gonna win you some games because he does not give a fuck. He's gonna sling it. I love Jameis Winston so much. I'm a big Jameis Winston guy.
I think everybody's a big Jameis
But
Winston
man, when
guy.
you have to name bottom 10 quarterbacks in the NFL for when there's this week, like it's hard not like you have to put in Jameis Winston.
I didn't put him in. My only reason, he's only started 1 week, and he beat a team that we have consistently had in the top 5 of the power rankings.
Yeah, dude.
He threw 300 yards and 3 tuds. Like, at the end of the day, you don't belong on this list.
So if he throws those 2 picks, that should have been picks.
If they lose the game, maybe. It just depends. I mean,
but since
he
they
didn't.
weren't picks and they did win the game, he's not in it. But let's say
Regardless, when you only
if he
have
does
one-
throw those 2 picks and they win, is he in your bottom 10?
maybe like 10. Maybe
Okay.
he goes in over Mahomes. But
Okay.
I think if you come in 1 week as a starter and you beat one of the best teams in the league, you don't deserve to be on
Okay.
the list. Number 6, I have Daniel Jones. These stats I've written down were before the Monday night game, but before the game, he was 23rd in passing yards, 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions with a 62 completion percentage, and I don't think he threw a touchdown that game. Tyron Tracy's a dog, but you can't rely on your running back if you want to be a good quarterback. Malik Neighbors is a dog, and he's kind of not in the best situation now because he has Daniel Jones throwing him the ball. I do think this is the last season we get to watch Daniel Jones as a starter.
Do you think they eat the dead salary cap?
Yeah. You're not going to – when somebody's this
I think they only have him on 1 more year.
when
after
somebody
this.
is this consistently mediocre and you're going to have probably a top 10 draft pick to take a quarterback, you're going to take a chance on a quarterback and at least try to bet on the upside and try to see if we can get us somebody else because Daniel Jones has consistently not been the guy.
consistently been mid.
Exactly.
He's like not Burger. He's like Wendy's.
He is like Wendy's.
Like if you work next to a Wendy's, kind of fire. I know you've had.
If
some.
you're really, really hungry, it's good enough.
Man, but Wendy's has a good burger.
I never get burgers.
What do you
You
get?
know what's fire from Wendy's?
They're spicy nugs.
First off, they have the saucy nugs now, which is fire. But grilled chicken ranch wrap, shit's fire. I just put you on. I just
That
put all
sounds
of y'all on.
But no, their spicy nugs are good. They hurt my stomach really bad. At number 5, I got Gardner Minshew. Is that really low for how you have him, or pretty similar?
Not too bad.
Gardner Minshew is going to win you some games, and he's going to lose you some games. I think he is the definition of mid.
He's a definition of mid, but the reason he's ass is because people see you as a backup, and you still manage to be the definition of mid. Backups are already supposed to be mid, and you're getting called mid while you're supposed to be a backup. So,
he's supposed to be a mid backup, or he's supposed to be a good backup, not a great backup, but good backup, and he has to be a mid starter.
Number 5 is somebody I kind of feel bad because I don't think he deserves to be on this list, but I have Mason Rudolph. You came in and you played way better than Will Levis. You just don't have the best team, and you got dicked on by the Lions. You still threw 2 interceptions in that game, and
don't even count about that fumble. That was a bad fumble.
He didn't fumble because I had a bet for him to fumble, and it didn't hit.
So he recovered his fumble? Do you know what fumble I'm talking about?
Are you talking about when he jumped for the thing on the rush?
And he rushed for it so pathetically, they recovered it?
No, the ground caused the fumble, so it didn't count as a fumble.
Because that was kind of pathetic.
But I do think, Mason Rudolph, you got thrown in for a shitty situation. I think Mason Rudolph is worlds better than Will Levis, by the way. Will Levis would probably be 1 or 2 on this list.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph, you got the short end of the stick, and you have to get thrown on this list because you were a starting quarterback last week, and you're not better than 30 of the guys in the NFL. So
Yep. At number 4, I'm so curious. You have to have him on your list. He's hung, and a guy we were high on at the beginning of the season.
Anthony Richardson.
And your list, I have him at 4.
Dude, it's so sad.
It's so sad.
After week 1, when he threw that 65-yard bomb.
He looked godly. But, man, he's looked like shit. And, how we talked about, I want my quarterback to be a guy who's, put the team on his back if I
Drew
have
Lock.
to. You know what I'm saying? Baker Mayfield. I know I'm a big Baker Glazer. Hold on. But you can admit.
Of all the quarterbacks to say, though, you had to say Baker.
Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen.
You putting Baker in a list of these guys.
And guys who will do anything to win.
I agree.
Baker Mayfield's in that category. I don't care who you are. Patrick Mahomes. Lamar. I don't care.
No, I get your point. It's just so funny hearing you list Baker's name with those guys. I get exactly what
Baker
you're saying.
has the most first down rushes in the NFL. Fun fact.
Number 4 is a guy that I think slightly lucked out that should be number 1 on this list, but he fortunately got the benefit of not playing a couple weeks. I have Bryce Young. He's 37th in the league of passing yards, has thrown 2 touchdowns to 5 interceptions with a very weak 59 completion percentage.
Oh, wow.
If Bryce Young has been the starter the entire year, he is easily number 1 on this list.
The Panthers
you lucked
are
out.
second in the division.
No, they're not.
No, they would be.
Oh, no, they wouldn't be. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to ignore that. You would be number 1 on this list. You lucked out. You got benched for a couple weeks. Bryce Young is terrible. He's never going to have a successful NFL career.
That's such bullshit. He will. I hope he does.
Want to put your money where your mouth is?
Bet you $5. I'll bet you $5 Bryce Young makes a Pro Bowl in 3 years.
I'll bet you $50.
$20. At number 3, I got Bryce Young. Man, I'm the Bryce Young defender. He's a midget. He has to jump to throw the O-line sometimes. But man, I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good team leader. I don't think he's one of the guys who's going to die on the field, which he needs to develop.
He's going to die on the field because of the Panthers O-line, but he's not going to die because of his heart. He's going to die because of his team.
He needs to develop a little bit more of a heart, which is hard for the Panthers, how it's going for him. It's hard to have a heart,
Yeah.
We have to think about Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, those guys who persevered with the Panthers team and who still had a heart.
Bryce Young has looked 100 times worse than both of them did look on the Panthers. And I got to say, the Panthers team is bad. Bryce Young plus the Panthers has to be the worst recipe for disaster of all time. Yeah. You have an already bad team with an already bad O-line, and then you throw a terrible quarterback in that offense that you traded all this capital for. That's a recipe for disaster.
At number 2.
Hey, I didn't get my number 3 yet, buddy.
Sorry.
Number 3, I have Gardner Minshew.
We have very similar.
I think it's a little unfair for him that he has to be put on this list because he should not be a starter. And he knows that. I think everybody that watches.
He wants to be a back. Let my man be a backup, dude.
And he's a good backup. He's just a terrible starter.
If I'm a starting quarterback and that dude's my backup, we're going to go get beers every night.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking play catch with him on the sidelines. That's my boy. He doesn't want. I think he's Alex Moran.
He does not want to be a starter, but. Gardner
I've never
Minshew,
seen Blue Mountain State, so you don't understand.
Gardner Minshew, you've started almost every game this year, and you're 24th in the league in passing yards. You have 8 interceptions, only 6 touchdowns. You have a pretty good completion percentage, but it's because you're throwing checkdowns to Brock Bowers and Alexander Madison all game, so it's easy to have a good completion percentage. He's just not a starting quarterback. I think everybody knows that. I think Gardner Minshew himself knows that, so he's top 3 on the bottom 10 quarterbacks list.
So I know you have one of your guys in the top 2, I think. I don't know.
Just give your number 2.
I have Spencer Rattler.
Okay.
Man, I'm really high on Spencer Rattler. I really want Spencer Rattler to succeed. He's an OU guy. He's a Lincoln Riley guy. I'm rooting for him. But man, he's had some really good plays, but he's had some fucking terrible plays.
Number 2, I also have Spencer Rattler. I think this is another short end of the stick situation.
So is your number 1? Sorry to interrupt you. Is your number 1 somebody I've said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, I also have Spencer Rattler. I think this is another short end of the stick situation where he really was never expected to be thrown into this offense this early. And the Saints offense, I think obviously week 1 and 2, they looked good, but since then they've looked mediocre. I don't think I was high on Rattler going into the year, but after seeing how he's played, even though he's a rookie and even though he wasn't ready, you still got to play better than that. He only has 1 touchdown. He has 2 interceptions thrown and a very bad completion percentage.
And both interceptions were against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I just don't think he'll ever be a successful NFL quarterback, if I'm being honest. Before the season, I would have never said that, but after seeing the play, he doesn't have good size. He doesn't have good decision-making. I don't see it.
That sucks. Give your number 1.
Number 1. He probably shouldn't be number 1, but with the expectations he had going into the season, you get thrown into number 1. I have Anthony Richardson. You are 29th in the league in passing yards. You've thrown 4 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, and he has a 44% completion percentage. That is absolutely pitiful. You are on a very competent roster. You have one of the better O-lines in the league. You have Jonathan Taylor. You have Michael Pittman and Josh Downs, and a rookie receiver that they drafted you as well. You have no excuse to be playing this bad. You can't complete a pass. You're supposed to be a great scrambler, which you are, but you got to know how to throw the ball as well. Maybe take some notes from Lamar Jackson because he runs and throws better than you. It has been absolutely abysmal watching you this year. I had literally thought you were going to be probably a top 15 quarterback.
After the week 1 rankings, we had fucking Anthony Richardson crawling the top 10.
Well, no, I had him low because he had only played 3 games. However,
but I'm saying we had him in the top half.
You go number 1 strictly because of the expectations I had for you going into the season, and I think a lot of NFL fans did. You are in a pretty bad division, and you're still managing to not look very good. You have 4 wins somehow, and I think 2 of them came from Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is a way better quarterback than you, and at this point, I think they should bite the bullet, throw in Flacco, maybe trade you, because I genuinely think
I've talked about it. What do you think about him sitting out for a play on a crucial 3rd down?
Bullshit. But
what's your approach as a coach? Like going into that Monday,
bench him.
You think you bench him?
I think
show
you
him
bench
a
him.
lesson? Or do you bench him?
And I also just think I think you bench him because you have a better chance to win with Joe Flacco. You have 4 wins now. You may as well do whatever you have the better chance to win. But in Flacco, I genuinely
do they have more wins with Flacco?
Yes,
or even they both have 2 wins, I think.
Oh yes, I do think they're even. But Anthony, one of his wins is against Tim Boyle on the Dolphins, and he barely won. Like that's not an impressive win whatsoever.
All right, on my number 1, I've got Mason Rudolph. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think the Titans suck balls.
And hang on, and if Will Levis was still a starter, he would be your number 1.
Yeah, probably. The Titans just suck ass, dude. I think I've said this probably 25 times. I think the Titans are the most incompetent roster.
They really are. And I honestly think Mason Rudolph is one of the best backups in the league. He managed to take he was the reason that Steelers team was able to make it to the playoffs last season.
But I think coaching helps out a lot. And
coaching does help out a lot.
Roster helps out a lot.
It does help that a lot.
He looked like shit last week.
He really didn't, though. Like, the first half, he looked decent. The second half, when you're losing by 30, how do you have motivation to go and play good football?
True. I'm a big...
If Will Levis is in that game, it's probably...
We saw Mason Rudolph play multiple times in college.
And
I'm a big
let's
Mason
just be
Rudolph
real.
guy.
If Will Levis is in that game, the final score is probably 70-0.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I think Mason Rudolph being on this list is another short end of the stick situation, and it's just...
I agree. So you think... I think we're pretty even on our list. You didn't have Jameson and you didn't have Bo Nixon.
No, I think Jameis is understandable. I think Bo Nix is slightly unfair, but this list was so hard that I can't even
hard. Like I had my top 6, 7 guys were really easy.
Yeah.
And those last 3, that's why Bo Nix. I'm like, who did you have over there that I didn't have?
I had Patrick Mahomes and Dak, and Tua.
Those guys are hard to put in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think Bo Nix probably has been playing better, so you're probably right, but it's hard.
Next up, we have the underdog locks of the week. I went 3 for 4 this week, and I got sold at $300 like I mentioned earlier, so trust me and tail my picks. Please don't, because you'll probably lose money. So on underdog, if you guys don't know, You're able to adjust the lines. I want you guys to keep that in mind. If you're ever going to use underdog, adjust the lines. It's going to make your payout lower, but you're going to have a better chance to win. You can adjust Aaron Rodgers' passing yard stats line up to 274.5, and that is the easiest under I've ever seen in my life playing against one of the best pass rusher teams in the league. That is literally a lock. Next up, I have Joe Mixon over half rushing and receiving touchdown.
Great pick.
I do think the Jets have a pretty decent run defense, but if they get in the red zone, Joe Mixon is going to find a way to get in the end zone.
You know what Joe Mixon's legal name is? Dog.
His name is Dog. That touchdown he had last week was insane.
He's insane.
He's going to find a way in the end zone.
That was probably the biggest L I took, where they did not need Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon has really helped him out a lot.
No, he has been really good. And then my last pick, I have Breece Hall, another adjusted line over 49.5 rushing yards. I think to start off the game, they're going to be running the ball. The Texans' D-line is pretty good, but I don't think they have the best running defense. And I think being able to adjust the line to 50 yards is literally a free pick. So that's my lock for the week. $25 pays out $71. $250 pays out $710. So maybe put $250 on it. Don't do that.
So me, I'm a notoriously bad sports bettor. I'm a great blackjack player. Matt can attest. I'm a great
I'm
blackjack.
the worst blackjack
But
player.
I'm one of the best blackjack players.
Yeah. I mean, I
No.
don't watch anybody play blackjack. You're
But
the
I'm
best
saying-
I've watched.
But I'm saying you like if you sit down at a blackjack table, I'm probably winning money.
Yeah.
So I want to get a little crazy. It's a $5 entry to win $600. So I think the easiest ones of the week: Garrett Wilson higher than 63.5 yards. Garrett Wilson has been balling out on these deep routes, and Aaron Rodgers is putting them in money spots. I think that is a lock. And then I have Tank Dell anytime touchdown over 0.5 receiving rushing, without Nico Collins out.
And Diggs went off with an injury last game. I don't know if he's playing or not.
Honestly, I feel more confident in the takedown touchdown with Diggs in.
Kind of
that make
drawing the
sense?
attention over there.
Yeah. And then CJ Stroud higher than 219.5 passing yards.
I think that's
That's really fair. But this is where it gets hard. I need discount double check Aaron Rodgers to run that bitch in.
It could happen.
And basically, guys, I'm doing a $5 hard bet every week. So hopefully I can win a cash prize, dude. Give me a
Hey, may as well. And that is the underdog locks of the
Underdog,
week.
sponsor us. Dude, we'll shout you out every week. All our family will use our promo code TRUST. Just give us one sponsor, and all you have to do, give us $100 free play, and you'll have a year-long sponsorship.
And last but not least, we have the opening kickoff combined power rankings going into week number 9. We both make our power rankings. We put them together. We find the average, and here we are. Do you want me to start from 32 or 1?
We're going to start from 32.
32, the Panthers. I really don't think we need to say anything about that unless you want to say something. This guy said the Panthers are going to be better than the Texans this year. I just want you guys to remember that. Number 31.
What's worse, the Joe Mixon take or the Panthers take?
Panthers take 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of combined because you said the Texans were DTMing, which isn't a thing.
I know.
Next up, 31, the Titans. Again, not much to say there. I think they could also be 32.
Both those teams are ass.
They're ass. Number 30, the Raiders. Ass.
I honestly think the Raiders are, like, so bad.
They
I think
really
the
are.
Panthers and Titans are, like, obviously
But
bad.
I honestly kind of like the Raiders' defense.
I do too, but I think what I was going to say is, like, the Titans and the Panthers are, like, obviously bad. The Raiders, like, should not be this bad, so it's kind of pathetic how
I think when
they
your
are.
quarterback's that bad, it's kind of expected. I think they're kind of a quarterback away, if I'm being honest.
I think
I mean, they need a couple more
they're
weapons,
a
obviously.
quarterback in a few
Give them a
two good
couple
draft
years.
picks.
Give them a couple years. I think
2-3
they'll be pretty
years,
good.
they'll be fine.
29, we have the Patriots. I think they're a similar team. I think Drake Mays honestly looked pretty decent this year. I think
Mays
give him
looked
a couple of years to get some weapons, and maybe Jerome Mayo's guy. Maybe he's not. Who knows? But I think the Patriots will be pretty decent.
You have to
pretty
give
soon.
Jerome Mayo one more year for sure.
100%. Next up, I have the Saints. I think if Derek Carr doesn't go out, they're probably a couple spots higher, but I don't think it changes much.
They
Saints
looked bad.
defense was supposed to be pretty good. It hasn't been as good, and the offense has been pitiful.
They're old too. I think they're the oldest roster in the NFL.
Yeah, they probably are. Number 27, I have the New York Jets, or we have the New York Jets.
Wow, we have them that low?
I think I had them a decent.
So you had
amount
them a lot
than you.
lower than I
think
did?
I had them at like 29 or 30.
Because I had them at like 20.
I had them below the Patriots.
Well, makes sense. They had the same record with the loss.
I think I already kind of ranted about the Jets. You are making moves you don't need to be making. Number 26, we have the Browns. I think you had the Browns way lower, and I had them a decent amount higher because I really was impressed by that win over the Ravens of all teams.
And I'll take, and you know me, I said,
You said you would forgive them if they benched or cut Deshaun Watson.
but they haven't yet. You know what I'm
He's
saying? It's the injury.
Yeah, but next season he might
I
be
know.
out of there.
The Browns, Deshaun Watson not in there, it takes my hatred from 100% to 50%.
Yeah,
But Jameis Winston being in there takes it from 50 to 30. DTR, it's back up to like
Yeah.
100.
The
Like
fact that they even put DTR in that first game was bullshit. Number 25, the Miami Dolphins. I expected them to be a little bit higher after Tua came back, and they still didn't win with Tua. I don't like Tua. I don't like
they'll
the
finish in the
Dolphins.
top 20.
24, I disagree. Number 24, the New York Giants. I think they put up a pretty good fight against the Steelers. But
Wait,
they're
so you
still
have the
not very good.
Dolphins because I had the Dolphins above the Giants.
I had the
so-
Dolphins below the Giants.
So you had it was a pretty big margin.
I think
to
it
even
was
out.
like 2 or 3, like
Okay.
just barely enough to get them above them. But the Giants, I think they put up a fight against the Steelers. I think they put up a decent fight almost every game other than against the Eagles, which was insane. But Saquon, he wanted his revenge. So,
Okay.
but the Giants, like, I don't know. It's just so weird. Like, they're the weirdest team in the league.
They are like it's like are they one quarterback away or are they in a complete rebuild where they need to rebuild?
I really don't know. I don't like Brian Daboll, though, and you know that.
I
But
like Brian Dable. I think that's our probably biggest coaching disagreement.
Number 23, probably the highest team with a record that they have, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need a new head coach, need more defensive weapons, and I think they could be like a top 20, top
Yeah, they're
15
gonna
team.
They're gonna compete in every game they're in this year. no
They
matter
have
what.
pretty much. It's been insane.
I think every loss is a touchdown game, right, or a possession.
I
game.
couldn't tell you. There's been a lot of games.
But it's close.
It has been close. Number 22, the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Colts finish lower than this unless Joe Flacco happens to somehow find a way to be the starter the
The
rest
Colts
of the year.
are the worst
Worst
500 team in the NFL.
Yeah, no, it's how are y'all 500? Oh, yeah, because y'all have to play the Dolphins against Tim Boyle. That's all that needs to be said. Number 21, the Bengals. Dude, they need to start winning.
I know it's bad. It's bad.
If they
both
don't,
had the
if
Bengals
they
really high.
if they manage to slip up against the Raiders,
their season's over.
it's over. Number 20, the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God, the Cowboys. How? Like,
We love it. We love it. We're from Texas. If y'all don't know, if you're a rando watching, we're from Texas. So like,
I think it kind of plays into more though, like why we don't like the Cowboys because we're around so many obnoxious Cowboys fans. It's just the run game sucks. You didn't go for a running back. Tank for Gene T at this point, right? Like
Who?
Ashton Gene T.
or Ollie Gordon, any of those guys.
Yeah. It's
But
just
Ashton
they're
GT's
in,
going to be a higher.
they're in
projected
such a
draft
weird
pick.
spot. Their window is closing and closing and closing. Dak's aging and aging and aging. Your
and,
own
and he's paid $60 million a year for the next 5
exactly
years.
like y'all. They're in the most interesting.
Because he has a
spot.
5-year contract, right?
4 years.
Insane, dude.
They're
That's
in they're in
insane.
the most interesting spot of any NFL team ever. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I think them and the Giants are both real interesting.
Yeah. Next up, the Los Angeles Rams, who, if they lose that game, are probably 5 or 6 spots lower than that.
Yeah.
But they beat one of the better teams in the league with their weapons. Their offense is insanely good, and they're competing in a pretty competitive
I
division
love
this
their
year.
offense and the fact that, and I love Kyron Williams a lot because he's such a dog, and he's like, they know like you're not the first option on the team, right? He might
Yeah.
be.
He has a lot of
They
carries.
know
though.
they use him when they need yards.
Yeah.
And I love pass on first down, pass on second down, 3rd and 2. We're handing the fucking ball, and he gets.
And
12
he gets
yards.
so many goal line touches. Dude, I drafted him in one fantasy league. I don't think I have him in both. I drafted him in one fantasy league. And then before the next draft, Sean McVay, it was whenever he said they were going to use him as a
shit. Yeah.
No, it was whenever they said they were going to use him as a punt returner.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Apparently Blake Corum's this guy, and I didn't draft him in that league. That was the biggest mistake I ever made.
Kyron Williams is on pace to break the record for most games with a touchdown.
Dog. Number 18. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They went from the top 10 easily to close to the bottom 20. Yes, it has to do with the injuries. I think that's the main factor at this point.
We've only been injured 1 week though.
Yeah, but I mean, and then y'all came out and lost
our
to the
defense.
Falcons
It's
again.
the defense.
It's the defense and the injuries. Because if y'all don't have that injuries, I think
And
y'all.
Baker's turnover problem.
I think y'all beat the Falcons that game if y'all don't.
I'm
have the
Baker's
injuries.
biggest fan, but 7 interceptions in 2 games.
Gotta calm down
in
the
3 games
turnovers.
is unacceptable. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna beat the Chiefs or the 49ers. If we beat both,
Yeah.
we're definitely fine.
Number 17 at the Seattle Seahawks. They're a very interesting.
Oh, and by the
team.
way, sorry, I did not have the Buccaneers at 8.
You had them at 16. You told me that.
I know, but so you had them at 20, something like that.
Something close to that, yeah. Next up, 17, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are one of those teams, if they play a bad team that they should win the game, they're going to win. And if they play a good team that they should lose, they're going to lose. Number 16, the Atlanta Falcons. Very interesting team. You manage to play like shit a lot of the times, and then you play division games, and you manage to play good. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Kirk Cousins has looked like shit unless if it's against the Buccaneers.
He really has, yeah. But I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a good season. I think he's going to catch his stride.
He can't have another Seahawks game.
If only he got to play the Bucs 4 times a year.
Dude, if he played the Bucks every week, they'd be 18-0, and he'd be fucking
Yeah, right.
7,000 yards, 46 touchdowns.
Number 15, the LA Chargers. I think if they manage to beat that game or win that game against the Cardinals, they're in the top 10, but you lost to a Cardinals team, which I'm not very high on. And I don't know. It just was just a sloppy game. The run game has been good, but
I think the Cardinals are the closest team.
Yeah, and
they're so close.
And the Chargers,
so
the thing about the Chargers, like, you can only rely on the run game is so much. You know what I mean?
Herbert. That's what bugs me, too. You got Herbert.
He needs a weapon. Maybe they could be a team that trades for T. Higgins or somebody like that.
Let him sling it a little more.
I agree. And they did. Lad McConkey had 2 touchdowns. Hey, so I picked Lad McConkey up 2 weeks ago in fantasy, and he got me 4 fantasy points, and I had him to get a touchdown in a parlay.
In the other league, you didn't have him. We both. Did you release him or did you just bench him?
I dropped him.
I dropped him.
He got 2 touchdowns.
That's why I was literally going to text her, like, did you see this? Because we both started him last week.
But did you see that he brought the boom after one of his touchdowns?
I did see that.
He did bring the boom. Shout out Lad McConkey. Number 14. The Arizona Cardinals, another very interesting team. They either play the worst football I've ever seen or they play very competitive football.
And it's the opposite. If they play a really bad team, they're going to lose. They play a good team, they're going to win.
They have a chance. Yeah, dude, the Cardinals are so weird. Oh, excuse me. Number 13, the Denver Broncos. They have been playing some damn good football. I do think when teams get to play against the Panthers, they instantly get bumped up 3 spots because they look so damn good.
And they got to test some shit out, too.
I do like how Bo Nix has been playing this season. People weren't very high on him, including myself, and Sean Payton has been able to turn him into a
You were really low on Sean Payton. What do you think about Sean Payton now?
The thing is, I knew Sean Payton was capable of winning games. I just don't like him. I don't like how Russ showed that he was a competent starter and was able to win the games, and he gave up on him. And look at him now for the Steelers. If the Broncos had Russ right now, I think they'd be a playoff team.
Think they're better?
Yes, 100%. Russ is...
Because they didn't get anything for Russ. They just cut him.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. I just...
But the video of Sean Payton ripping the bong is sick.
That is pretty sick. Number 12, the 49ers. Their record doesn't deserve for them to be a number 12. They're 49ers. They're about to get Christian McCaffrey back. I don't think Ayuk being out is going to affect them too much.
How good did Brock Purdy look last game? He had 2 bad throws.
No, he looked pretty damn good. At the end, it started getting a little sketchy.
Third down throw behind Debo. That was really bad. And he had another throw that was behind, but man.
And Jordan Mason got hurt again, and these backup running backs are coming in and looking so damn good.
What's that dude's name? Gustero?
I genuinely couldn't tell you. But
Brock Purdy carried that game.
With these third and fourth string running backs looking as good as they are in this offense, when they get McCaffrey back, just imagine what it's going to look like. It is going to be a problem for the rest of the league, like it was last season. Number 11, I think you must have had this team a lot higher than me because I don't think I had them this high. The Chicago Bears, coming off a loss to the Commanders, which easily could have been a win.
Bears right around 11.
This easily could have been a win, but also you're also in one of the most competitive divisions in the league. You have a very good defense, so I don't think 11's crazy high. I think the 49ers are a better team.
I think they have the second best defense in the league.
Third or fourth at least.
Vikings.
Better,
so
Steelers
they have the
better.
third. Steelers, Vikings, Bears. Easily.
I don't feel like reading too hard into this list, so I'm not going to go there. Number 10, the Baltimore Ravens, coming off a loss to a very bad team with a backup quarterback. However, it was a division game, which can always go either way, and the Ravens are still one of the best rosters in the league.
And it was at the Brown Stadium, too.
Yeah, and I mean, game-sealing dropped interception.
By probably the best safety in the NFL.
He was an All-Pro last year.
And he's a stud.
He's a stud. And he dropped 2 interceptions.
What college did he go to?
I don't know. He dropped 2 interceptions, 2 games in a row, by the way.
Notre Dame. He went to Notre Dame.
I couldn't have even guessed that.
He was great at Notre Dame. He was even better.
Number 9, a team that I think we had in the 20s a couple weeks ago. The Philadelphia Eagles are really starting to turn it around. Jalen Hurts is kind of dealing with his turnover problem. Saquon is balling out. They got their receivers back. A.J. Brown is a top 5 receiver, by the way. A.J. Brown is so good. Oh, my God. A.J. Brown gets me horny. I can't.
And when he wears those pink cleats, too.
Dude,
love it.
I love A.J. Brown might be one of my favorite players in the league. I can't even lie. I love watching
Devontae Smith back, too. Jalen Hurts looked great last week.
He did look really good.
And he broke the record for most Eagle rushing touchdowns, I think.
Maybe. He's back to being a tush-push merchant.
I love the
just like
push.
that.
I would tush his push. You feel me?
I would tush his push. Number 8, the Washington Commanders. I am a big fan.
I had the Eagles above the Commanders, right?
I had the Commanders way higher though.
Okay.
I had the Commanders at 6. I think
the Eagles and Commanders play right now. Who do you have winning?
Damn.
I think the Eagles win it.
The Eagles might take it, but I had the Commanders high enough that it.
Yeah.
And I think the Commanders have a better record as well. And
they're both 2 losses.
No way the Eagles don't have 3 losses.
Nope, they have 2.
That's crazy. Oh, yeah, the Eagles have been hot. But I do like the Commanders more. Jaden Daniels, I'm a fan of. The defensive play calling, although the defense is bad, hasn't been terrible.
Quinn's a stud.
And their D-line, dude, the Bears' offensive line.
Did you see after the game, Matt Nagy's at the Bears coach?
No, it's Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, Matt Nagy's their O coach, right?
Yeah, and he's back
And
with
then,
the
so
Chiefs
he's
now.
talking about. So he was like saying like, oh, those first 2 plays where they got closer upfield didn't matter. Like, it's that last play we got to defend.
Oh, and then Dan Quinn
And
was
Dan
like, that
Quinn's
was huge.
like, those 2 plays after where we got close for a Hail Mary shot.
Did you
that's
see
what
even
won the
Romo
game.
during the game was like, you got to take a quick out. Got to take a quick out
Yeah.
route here, 13 yards, in his Tony Romo voice.
Yeah.
I love the Commanders.
Those black
the
unis.
Bears offensive line managed to make the Commanders D line look so good. It's just
Dude.
not.
Those black uniforms
Those are
of the
so
Commanders.
tough.
And Jaden Daniels, dude, is him.
He's him.
He didn't play great, but he
really didn't have that good.
rarely.
But he's also coming off a
but
rib
he
injury.
rarely makes mistakes.
And he was dealing with a rib injury.
But
the
he
whole
doesn't
game.
make bad reads on throws.
But I do think he needs to let loose a little bit. Throw a couple go balls. He did throw a really good deep ball to Terry McLaurin that game. But throw a couple deep balls, a couple more deep balls. Really let it.
I don't know because he
let
hasn't
that
been
thing
turning
hang.
the ball over and they've been winning. So what if he?
Yeah,
lets
but
it
in
go
a
little
big
more?
game,
like
in
that,
a really big game, and not even just like that. I mean, in a very important game later down the season against
like
a
the
very
Ravens
good team.
game that earlier this season.
Exactly. You got to take a couple more shots. You got to build that confidence. But he's a rookie. Can't expect too much from him. Number 7, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Holy shit, the Steelers.
They look good.
Najee Harris, by the way, I have been a very big Najee Harris hater up
Same.
until this season. He has really impressed me. He might be the most consistent running back in the league. He is always getting carries, and he's always getting enough yards, and he's always doing enough.
He's
Like,
not the most consistent running back in the league.
who's more consistent?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, what did he do against the Browns? In 1 touchdown and wasn't playing good.
True.
Like,
True.
and I'm not saying, because the thing is, Derrick Henry is great most of the time, but every now and then he's capable of having a bad
big
game.
games,
Najee Harris is
He's always
never
good.
Najee Harris is never amazing. He's always good enough.
Fair.
Next up, I have number 6, we have the Houston Texans. A couple of these last few wins have been a little sketchy. Pretty sketchy, honestly. The win against the Bills could have gone either way. The win against the Colts could have gone
And
either
they just
way.
lost to the
That's not
Packers.
even a very good team.
Their last 3 games barely beat the Bills off of a dome.
Off of dumb coaching from the
coaching.
other team.
Barely
beat-
lost to the Packers.
and then barely beat the Colts, who suck ass. We got to go there. Number 5, the Minnesota Vikings. You had the Vikings higher than me. I think coming off these 2 losses, I think my hopes are just down. If I'm being honest, maybe that's
See,
why.
I had the Vikings above the Packers because they beat them. Sorry,
Yeah, but
I just spoiled the list. The Vikings above the Texans because of the win, and then the team above them because of the win.
You already said it. I don't think teams beating teams necessarily make them better. The Browns beat the Ravens. I don't think the Browns are better.
Okay, of course, but I'm saying when they have the exact same record and we're deciding 3 or 4.
I'm
gonna
it's
go with
any
the
given
team who's
Sunday,
beat
though.
who.
I don't think
I
winning
agree,
games
but
makes them
I
better.
agree. I'm not saying they're a better roster. I don't think if
Yeah.
it's like who has a better NFL Super Bowl odds. It's like if it's this or this first, they have the exact same record. They're both good. I'm gonna go with the guy who wins.
Number 4, we have the Green Bay Packers. Dude, Jordan Love, he doesn't remind me of Rodgers. He reminds me exactly of Brett Favre.
I was just about to
He
say that.
throws some of the most beautiful passes I've ever seen, but he will throw an interception every single game, and you'll be like, what was he doing? He makes some of the best throws I've ever seen, and I genuinely love watching him, and I'm a huge Jordan Love fan. But every now and he's kind of like Stafford, too. You're like, okay, what were you doing there?
Him
Like,
and Stafford are the biggest fucking guys.
no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Jaden
And
Daniels,
when you're that good,
do it. And that's what I'm trying to
you
say.
think
The point,
you can make these windows all the time, and there's gonna be times where you think you can't even.
and that's the point I was trying to make about Jaden Daniels. He needs to find that little part of him where it's like, fuck it, I'm going to throw a ball here. You know what I mean? Number 3, the Buffalo Bills, coming off a very good win against Seattle. Josh Allen threw his first interception. He had a turnover problem coming into this season, and he really got it fixed. I think Amari Cooper has been a pretty good addition to that team. James Cook was cooking. I really like how Sean McDermott, or however you pronounce his name, he's a very good defensive coach, and you really don't need much
Sean
defensive
McDermott.
talent on that team to make it look good. So I think the Bills are in the 3 spot here.
I agree.
Number 2, the team that I personally have at number 1, but I can understand why they get to go at number 2. I completely get it.
Wait, where do you have the Vikings?
Number 4, and the
Okay.
Packers were 3. Number 2, the Detroit Lions. I personally think the Detroit Lions are the best team in the league.
You had him at 1. I had him at 2.
Yeah, and I can get why they have to be 2 because the team above them is undefeated. The Lions, their defense has their defense is
so
causing
good.
turnovers. Their special teams, dude. I don't think Jared Goff threw over 100 passing yards last game, and he
He
had
had
3
85
touchdowns.
passing yards.
And they're
How insane! He had 85 passing yards, and they dropped 50 points.
it's insane.
How the fuck's that? And
Best-
it's not like they had 300 yards rushing.
I mean, they had a decent amount rushing, but it was all from return yards.
It's insane.
So you have the
Khalif
best.
Raymond?
Hang on. So you have the best rushing offense in the league maybe undisputed. Ravens might be up there, but I think it goes to the Lions. I
The
mean,
Bucks are up there too, but I don't think they're better than either of those two. But the Bucks are up there.
Lions probably have the best run game in the league. You have a
Agreed.
crazy passing offense, and your defense is able to cause turnovers in every single game. The Lions, they're amazing me. I was telling Zach this. How come the 1 year the Vikings are good, they have to be in the best division in the league? Why?
I know, exactly.
Like, literally, why? Literally, the number 2, number 4, number 5, and number 11, all NFC North.
Crazy.
Such
no
bullshit.
one would have to guess that'd be the best division.
Such bullshit.
People would probably have that like bottom 3 divisions.
I did. I thought the Vikings got 5 wins. I thought the Bears maybe got 7. I do think the Bears probably get 7 or 8 wins though. Still.
Yeah, same.
Number 1, Kansas
Sorry.
City Chiefs. You got Patrick Mahomes, and the defense is so good that he's able to play below his expectations, and the defense will make up for it. And I just want to talk about this. If the Chiefs roster was fully healthy, they would have DeAndre Hopkins, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Isaiah Pacheco, and Travis Kelce with Patrick Mahomes, with
Insane.
Spags defense. What the fuck?
Insane.
Insane. Injuries have been, shooting them in the foot, and they're still managing to win all these games. And like I said last week, come playoffs, Mahomes is going to lock in. He's not going to play like this anymore. And on top of how good the defense and the rest of the team has been playing,
The defense needs to stay healthy for
Chiefs
the long term.
Chiefs are just going to be in the Super Bowl.
But I'm
again.
saying that
You
defense
see
needs to
the
stay
Chiefs
healthy.
traded for Josh Uche?
For a 6th round pick.
Insane.
Did you hear Bill Belichick talking about it?
Yeah, he was like, they're going to get a conditional anyways. They practically got him for free. Or if they don't re-sign him, they get a conditional. So, and Josh Uche isn't like amazing, but he's a decent pass rusher. And
he's
they've
like
been
a 75 to 80 overall.
and they need pass rushers. And
So
I
don't
mean,
worry. You
could've been-
had the Chiefs at 2. Next week, they're going to have 1 loss. So we'll be able to put the Lions at 1. Don't
We're
worry.
not going to have one loss.
Imagine our top 2 teams in the NFL. Lions, Chiefs.
And the
Buccaneers
Bucks
beat
beat
them
both
both.
of them. That'd be pretty insane. If the Vikings lose to the Colts, I might have to find a new team.
I'm going to have to new coach because Maddox is going to be dead.
Oh, this is what I wanted to say earlier that I said I was going to say for later, if anybody's even watching right now. I have finally broken the jersey curse. This week, the jerseys I wore a Rams jersey during the Vikings game. Rams won. I wore a Cardinals jersey during the Cardinals-Dolphins game. The Cardinals won. I wore a Bills jersey during the Bills-Seahawks game. The Bills won. And I wore a 49ers jersey during the 49ers-Cowboys game. In all 4 of those games, the team I was wearing won. So I'm officially going to be wearing a Vikings jersey this Sunday night. Or is it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday night. I'm going to be wearing the Vikings jersey, and I think I finally broke the curse, and maybe we'll actually win, and I can actually wear my own team's jersey during the game.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for checking out this episode of the Opening Kickoff. We're halfway through the show. Thank you for the love. We're going to get better about shorts and all that. We're going to be back on the grind. And, yeah. Anything else you got to say?
Football season's halfway over, man. I'm depressed.
Technically, no. Regular season.
Yeah, that is true. But I'm still depressed.
Buccaneers country. Let's ride.
Deuces.